Thank you for clicking on this Fun with Pete and Sherry video. I am your host, Mr. Julian. Is this on? Hello?
Test, hello?
All right, welcome back, Mr. Brad, to
Good to be back, guys.
to the show. And I wasn't planning on doing a video tonight, but then someone gave me an awful lot of money, and now I figure, what the fuck, right?
Why not?
Yeah. And as I was mentioning earlier, this bottle of Chieftains Brora is very special to me. Brora, as you may know, is a distillery that is discontinued. It mothballed ages ago, and the last bottles of it out there are hard to come by.
Finite supply.
Many of them, well, I would say the 1 dram of Brora I had at Whiskey Fest was the most unique whiskey I've ever had. In some ways, it was a whiskey that you could easily. A lot of people didn't finish theirs.
So this was the one at the, not at the tasting, but this was the one at the seminar?
This was the year before you went there.
Oh, okay. So I was not there for that.
No. And I mean, it was peaty, but in addition to that, it was heavy. It was in fact sulfurous.
That does not sound pleasant at all.
No, but it was, and I tell you, it
What if you signed me up for it?
It was buttery and sulfurous, and this one was finished in
for
sherry
all the people
barrels.
who watch Master Chef out there, if you've ever heard of butter and sulfur mixed together, please post in the comments. This better be good because you have me really scared right now.
And yes, when I bought this is a 26-year-old. It's a Chieftains bottling, as you can see. I hope the resolution. Yeah, I mean you can see that. It's a Chieftains bottling, and it is, for those of you who keep track of this sort of thing, cask number 1521. 588 bottles. It's 48% alcohol. Distilled December 1981. Bottled September 2008. All right. Natural color and unchill filtered, as you would expect from a high-end Scotch. And so natural color is interesting to look at that color. But it's more brownish than reddish, which is a little odd. It's got a slight reddish tint, but this was aged in sherry barrels.
Almost like a copper color to it.
I got this at auction, and when I bought it, it was the most I'd ever spent on a bottle of whiskey, and I thought to myself, I'll probably never have occasion to open this. But it's fine. This will just be my museum piece.
But as we discussed, now that you have one 12 years at senior,
go get today's museum piece, if you will.
I'm afraid to carry this thing.
You'll be fine.
Yes.
Step slowly. It's not insured, so you fuck it up. You bought it. Right.
I have to work it off for a year.
Yeah. Brora 38. I picked this up at a regular Virginia ABC store, but of course I go to the ABC stores
From the
I look.
happiest merchant I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah. Yes, I post that video too on Fun with Pete and Sherry on my Facebook page, and which of you guys, if you watch me on YouTube, I also have a Facebook page. And nobody watches either. It makes no sense. When I was doing videos, a lot of people watched them, and now that I don't make them very often, then
nobody watches them. Imagine that.
But yeah, people forget you so fast.
We were discussing this one. We believe that on the high-end bottles, they actually get 5% of the sale, which means that when you bought this bottle, that young man or old man, he actually made more off the bottle than he made for his daily wage that day.
No doubt. No doubt. Yeah. And but so yeah, I mean, the ABC stores have their rack of special stuff in the back, and so I always look at what they have. And when I saw this up there, I was like, I'm impressed that they got a Brora.
Now, can we do a side by side of the color, because
this is certainly this is not
see through.
Right. Wait, and this is most likely a refill bourbon barrel, and but that's fine. You don't, for something that's this old, a refill barrel is actually really good because it gives you the spirit, the character of the spirit as it came from the stills without a great deal of addition. You get two things from aging. I could go into this. No reason. There's addition and alteration. Addition is all the extra taste you get from it, and then there's the time value, just how long it sits there, what the chemicals actually do. When you see all these shortcuts to maturation that they do nowadays, we do this, and then we fire up the pressure, and then we pressure cook it. All this stuff speeds addition. It does not speed alteration. So you can get whiskey that has a lot of taste in it while it's still young, but it's still young whiskey.
In the young whiskey, it definitely has, in almost all cases, a much harsher feel to it.
Yes. Now, also, I don't mean to say that you can't speed alteration at all. It happens faster in warmer climates and things like that, but you can only speed it to a certain degree. And any more that I said than that would be utter bullshit, because no one really knows how to quantify this.
Never in a million years would I thought on a bottle of almost 40-year-old scotch they would tell you how much the bottle was worth and you recycled it.
Please recycle.
15 cents.
15
in Vermont and Maine.
Oh, 15 cents, yeah. Iowa 5. Why even bother Iowa? Come on. That's a pretty poor showing. Now I'm going to get banned in Iowa. Fuck.
And this one is apparently worth nothing because it doesn't have the label on it. So you can only recycle the good stuff.
So let's see. Oh, this is natural cask strength.
Put that back in the box. You're making me nervous just holding it.
One of only 2004 bottles. Limited edition bottle number 2537. So, I think
So before we taste this one, can we discuss what the top 3 situations would be to make you crack that bottle open?
Honestly, if I was ever going to drink it, it would be today, wouldn't it?
Well,
I mean, I'm probably never going to have a better day than I did today. Certainly not financially.
Possibly, but I was thinking, based on your Facebook post, maybe Trump's assassination. Can we say that? Or does he monitor your videos?
I mean, if you say Trump's assassination, I guarantee you will draw someone's attention. But I mean, I
we
think
love America.
You just drew someone's attention there. What can I say? Probably the less I say in response to that, the better. I don't know.
That's the less you've ever said about it. You can edit that out, right?
Yeah, but I might need to blackmail you at some point in the future, Shell. Let's see.
All right, I am excited and nervous at the same time.
Mm-hmm. I've done some videos from Costa Rica and Thailand. All videos after this might be from one or two of those locations.
All right, that's the pour. Well, you almost spilled that over the side, and I almost had a heart attack. And this is only the 26-year-old.
Okay.
All right, the customary sniff.
Right. Well, that is not particularly peaty.
And I don't want to, I mean, we haven't tasted it yet, so I don't want to insult the brand, but it almost has a cheap smell. I can, when you say that you can smell the alcohol, you can definitely smell the alcohol in this one before you get the other aromas.
Yes, I hear what you're saying, though there's also a depth to it. Once you let some of the alcohol blow off the top here, people say oh, if you stick your nose in it, you're going to burn your nostrils. No, you burn your nostrils if you sniff really fast. Sorry. It's just you're doing it wrong. Fuck you, I'm not doing it wrong.
I gotta be honest, I'm not getting a whole lot of aroma from this one. In other bottles that we have tried in the past, you have a much better palate than I do. But usually I can you'll pick up
this would be my
cherry,
nose.
and
Yes,
tart.
not
Yeah.
palate. But yeah, no. What we've got here is caramel hits you kind of first, but below that there's something very sort of tangy and zesty, sort of like a peppermint.
See,
or
I'm missing the caramel notes, but I am getting
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's peppermint, and like a sweet peppermint, like there's like there's like green candy canes.
Oh, yes.
Um,
Andy's mints, maybe? No, that's spearmint.
what could be spearmint? I'm thinking candy cane more so than peppermint, actually. Um,
Well, most candy canes are peppermint. to be
yes,
fair.
but there's
But you're
some,
saying like cheap peppermint.
yeah, like cheap peppermint. But I mean,
Because
it's
like
not a
pure peppermint oil would just like you talk about burning your nose out.
yeah, no, and it's sweet. It's a very sweet smell. Something else too, like orange.
Yeah, I was gonna
maybe
say I
even
was just
tangerine.
about to say citrus. I definitely smell something citrusy.
A little vanilla, of course.
I do not pick up the vanilla though. I'm getting just a hint of citrus, and I do have a little bit of that mint aroma, but I definitely am missing out on the caramel.
It honestly smells really fucking good, but not like what I was expecting.
Based on your rotten eggs and butter analogy, I was expecting something much worse. I have to admit.
I mentioned this before. I've never dreamed about scotch except for the one time, and that is when the devil offered me a bottle of Brora for my soul. and that gives you an idea how big the impression. Not bullshit. That gives you how big the impression that one dram of Brora had. By the end of the day, I would have not have said it was my favorite whiskey. In fact, I've said numerous times since then my favorite whiskey was the Jameson Rarest Vintage Reserve.
Yes, you are very.
But this was the one that fucking haunted me, or not this one, but Brora. Brora was the one that haunted me.
Now, what was the year that you had at that
I
festival?
believe it was 1982.
So that would have been 18.
I don't know.
When did we go to Whiskey Festival?
We went in
6 or
2000.
7 years
We went
ago,
in
right?
2013.
2013?
I first went in 2012, but 1982. There's no way. But don't know when it was bottled exactly. It was distilled in 82. I don't know when it was bottled. I'm sure the people who bottled it. No. I don't recall who owns. But I think it was something to do with Kleinlich. I think that they the people who Brora may have been called Kleinlich up to a certain point, and then when they opened a new one called Kleinlich and changed it to Brora and then shut Brora down.
So there
but
is
there's some-
still
yeah.
the company is still out there in some form.
Yes, but you know what that means. That's who the checks go to. That has nothing to do with the character of the. I mean, in theory, it has something to do with the character. Oh, look at this. We haven't had a kitty cat join us in one of my videos in a long time.
That's
And of
what
course,
happens when Brad comes back to visit.
Tipsy does not. Tipsy is still around, but he doesn't come to the videos anymore. He mostly stays outside. So this is Moonshadow, and yes, Moonshadow has been with me since the very beginning. So there you go.
Alrighty.
Thank you for joining us, Moonshadow. And all right, final test.
Oh, we're tasting it now. Awesome.
Yeah, now that heaviness is definitely there
Oh yeah.
on the taste.
It's got a very heavy aftertaste as well.
Although one of my initial thoughts is I'm not crazy about the texture. Let's see if I can try that again. Yeah. It is bitter and sulfury. Much more bitter than I would have thought. In fact, that sweetness that I don't really pick up.
Yeah, I'm not. As happens with a
Smells
lot,
fantastic.
as happens with a lot of whiskeys, I'm not getting any of the flavors that we smelled in the beginning. When you drink a whiskey that is, over 18 years old, generally over 15 years old, you expect a, what's the phrase? not a vanilla taste, but almost like a nectar, a very smooth like quality. And for being a 26-year-old whiskey, this drinks like a 12-year-old. You know what I mean?
Well, I don't know. I never tasted anything like this in a 12-year-old. But
well, it's not bad, but
yeah, but
I think and I know that you hate every time I make a reference to Macallan, but think of the difference between Mac 12 and Mac 18. You're drinking the same whiskey, the same basic flavors, but the 18 goes down so much smoother with such a simple finish, and the 12, while still good, almost tends to bite a little bit.
I think that's what I call texture. And I know some people say like. We're going to talk about taste and palate, but I've never really known what the fuck the word palate was supposed to mean. I know that as a mammal I have a soft one. That's all I really know. And that, but whiskeys do have different textures. Some whiskeys are watery, some are oily, some are something else.
Now I will say this: is as seemingly negative as the first
Minerally.
comments were, this is not bad whiskey.
It is not bad, but it's extremely heavy. It's very,
definitely not watery.
and it is very bitter. I don't know. I found it is a little watery to me.
I'm not.
Its texture is a little bit, which is to say, it's not oily like I would like. Oily, like if you want to know like a really oily whiskey, that like the Macallan, the Balvenie 30, that was so oily it was like oil. I don't know.
I have that one.
I definitely gave you a taste or two of it.
Okay.
So, okay. That is... Okay, it's also extremely dry. The first...
Now there I'm in agreement on.
After it washes past your mouth, I get this immediate sense of almost drying out. Like literal almost drying out because it's so... because of the sweetness now. And then, yeah.
Now, do you remember
Extremely dry.
Do you remember when we had the
you ever try to chew on an acorn? Like you know how like a bitterness that sort of infects your mouth. That's sort of the bitterness level.
I think you're getting a lot more bitterness than I am because I'm not getting quite. I'm getting the dry mouth, but what I'm noticing is that I feel like. Well, do you remember when we had the Macallan cask strength?
Yeah,
like
that was fantastic.
That drank amazing.
Yeah.
And in this case, I feel like the high alcohol content might be masking some of the flavor. I'm very curious to see what happens when we add a drop of water to this.
Well, that's a good question. Let's give that a try. At this point, I'm saying this is super bitter, and like I said, with Brora, it's a little dicey because. Of the overpowering that I'm all for adding just a little bit of water, but that was literally like 3 drops. I think you just.
Well, I did not mean to put that many drops in. I'm hoping that it doesn't ruin it for me. I was trying to just get 1 or 2 drops in there.
I think you want about 10.
Oh, well.
All right, we're back, and we're back with my Brora 26-year-old, which is underwhelming me at the moment. We've added a little water.
Okay, I will say this. After a few minutes with the water in it, now I'm starting to smell a lot more than I did on the first.
Well, now it's nutty.
Yes.
And that often happens. It's nuttier, but the tangerine on the top is maybe even lemon. Is really pronounced now. We'll go back for another taste.
That is an amazing transformation. It's like a whole new whiskey.
It's definitely gentler than before.
And it's more flavorful, too.
Yeah, I'm getting tangerine and, well, now it's more like the smell. Some tangerine and nuttiness. And it's still incredibly dry, but it's not nearly as bitter. Ultimately, though, I still find the taste is very clipped. It has a nice entry, and then with this dryness, it just shuts off. And Now the aftertaste is sort of a lingering orange peel, I guess. Interesting, but I mean, they're better tasting whiskeys, you know.
I would definitely agree with that.
In standard ranges of a lot of distilleries.
I mean, you said you spent $300 on this. You could have gotten three. Well, you could have gotten 3 or 4 bottles of whiskey that would have been better in flavor for the same price.
But now it's a little buttery too. If you, it's big boy Scotch, not sweet at all.
But I mean, I also
But I do
peat
feel
at all. I mean, this is a whiskey that a lot of people get turned off at the slightest taste of smoke and peat. This one would definitely keep people at the table.
Yeah, no, this is not smoky. Ooh, no, I mean, it's still bitter. It's bitter. Bitter is good if it's bitter and complex. I've had whiskeys that sort of are a little like this before. This is sometimes like really young whiskey that they'll give like a secondary maturation and like PX or something.
You know,
and it gives it some complexity, but it doesn't really make it.
I gotta
good.
Disagree. I'm not picking up bitterness in this one. It's not hitting me that way. And with the few drops of spring water in it, it is just a completely different texture and a very different flavor. It's almost like 48% is too high for this whiskey. It needs to be a bit more subdued to really open it up.
Again, though, it's not about what it comes out of the bottle. Just a little water. A little water definitely opens it up. And you want that because the complexity is what you're paying for here. The complexity is one of the things you're paying for here that you actually are getting. You go through a number of things here with between the citrus and the nuttiness.
I feel like this would be really great.
But it needs some sweet flavors that are just not appearing.
I feel like this would be really great 15-year-old Scotch, but it's not really great 26-year-old Scotch.
Let's hope it's a good 38-year-old Scotch. I'm giving it a 7.2.
I'm actually going to go a bit lower than that. I'm going to go 6.5.
All right. There you go, friends. You probably can't find this bottle anyway, so I don't know what the fuck I'm going to do. All right, but thank you for tuning in.